Let's get you an update on where those are right now with some key race alerts. These are live results coming into CNN. We start with the state of Wisconsin. There, the CEO of California-based SunWest Bank, Eric Hovde, is 29,000 votes ahead of Democratic incumbent Senator Tammy Baldwin, who's seeking her third term in office, 70% of the vote. And we just got an update. The lead pretty much the same in Wisconsin for Hovde. In Pennsylvania, this has been going back and forth all night, but right now, the former CEO of one of the largest hedge funds in the world, Dave McCormick, currently leads incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey by about 120,000 votes. Still a very close race. This one also a very expensive one. 81% of the vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, a key race alert from the state of Michigan. This one has been close all night as well. Former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers currently leading current Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, 48,000 votes. Rogers ahead of Slotkin, 40% of the vote in the Wolverine state. So let's take a look at the balance of power in the U.S. Senate, the raw numbers. What does this mean? Democrats hold 40 seats. Republicans, with those two pickups, hold 49, 11 seats remaining to be determined. Jake, obviously you need 51 for control of the chamber.
All right, Boris, thanks so much. And CNN can make a projection. CNN projects that Washington State, as expected, will go to Kamala Harris. Washington State, with its 12 electoral votes, to the Democrat, Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's look at the electoral map right now. Donald Trump has 227 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 165 electoral votes. 270 are needed to win. We are waiting for more votes in the big three blue wall battlegrounds of Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin that both campaigns are watching very closely right now. A total of 6 top battlegrounds remain undecided as we get later into this election night. Stay right here for the next big rollout of votes. Right now, we're going to squeeze in a quick break. Stay with us.
Election night in America.
You never even get me out on the floor. 10 minutes I'll be late for the door. I like that old time of rock and roll. Still like that old time of rock and roll.
What does that mean for the electoral map? Donald Trump has 230 electoral votes. He is 40 electoral votes away from winning. Kamala Harris has 165 electoral votes. She is 105 electoral votes away from winning. Let's see what the states that we have not called, where their vote counts are. Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is in the lead there with 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.7% of the vote. Donald Trump is ahead of her by more than 206,000 votes. That's with 83% of the estimated vote in. That's Pennsylvania. Battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 46.9% of the vote. Donald Trump with a more than 111,000 vote lead with an estimated 44% of the vote in from Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump in the lead there too. 50.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump almost 80,000 votes ahead of her with 3/4 of the vote, 74% of the estimated vote from the Badger State in. Battleground Georgia, Donald Trump is up 50.7%. Kamala Harris is 48.4%. Donald Trump more than 118,000 votes ahead of her with an estimated 93% of the estimated vote in. Arizona, Donald Trump ahead there too with 49.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 49.3% of the vote. He is more than 7,500 votes ahead of her right now, but they still have about 48% of the vote to count, 52% of the estimated vote in. In Nevada, Donald Trump is in the lead with 73% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 10,000 vote, almost 11,000 vote lead. That is with only 2% of the estimated vote in. As we follow these crucial undecided races, we are already also getting closer to another poll closing. 4 more electoral votes are at stake in the next hour in the heat of the battle to reach 270. So every electoral vote counts. We're just minutes away.
We're still waiting, but just look at the map right now. You see a lot of red, right? So let's look at the 2020 map. You see the blue, right? The blue wall states, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, right? Now watch, this is where we are now. 2024 looks a lot different than 2020, but at the moment, looks pretty similar to 2016. Donald Trump won the blue wall. Donald Trump won North Carolina. Donald Trump won Georgia. Donald Trump won Arizona. The only difference would be Hillary Clinton in 2016 did carry Nevada. Donald Trump leads there right now when you come back to 2024. But it's just, sorry, 2024. Let me come up here and do this and hit this. And you go there at 2024. So that's the one, it's just a dramatic change when you come here. And so Donald Trump is remaking the map again at the moment. And the question is there any way for Harris to come back? Again, we've given Donald Trump North Carolina. So let's see where we are in Georgia. If Donald Trump also carries Georgia, the vice president cannot afford to lose Pennsylvania. Yes, Nevada's out there, Arizona's out there, Michigan and Wisconsin are out there. 19. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So can she come back in Georgia to stop that from happening? She's limiting her, if he wins Georgia, her path is so limited. So it's 118,000 votes right now. In a state decided 4 years ago by 11,700 votes, Donald Trump with 93%. That's an important number of the vote counted is ahead by nearly 120,000 votes. So you're looking, this is where they would have to be. You can pick up votes elsewhere, but that's where most of the votes are. That's close to half of the state population, right in Atlanta and the metropolitan area around it. So what's out there? Are there live outstanding votes out there? Well, let's take a look. The answer is yes. Let me get rid of the coloring so you don't have to see that. The answer is yes, they're out there. You're at the point now where you're talking about drawing to an inside straight flush. Essentially, you need these votes to come in overwhelming numbers for you. But you do see there's the mathematical possibility. This is why the Harris campaign is on the phone. This is why I assume Donald Trump has not come out yet to say anything, because he's hoping that this one comes off the board as well. You're looking at the math right there. It's possible. So we're waiting for more votes in Georgia. So then you come up, Jake, and we'll look at the blue wall states in a minute to see if any of the math is changing. But if you look at the map right now, you would so much rather be Donald Trump than the vice president.
All right, and we have a projection, John. CNN can project that Kamala Harris will win the Commonwealth of Virginia. Commonwealth of Virginia, with its 13 electoral votes, will go to the Democrat Vice President Kamala Harris. What does that mean for the electoral math? Let's take a look. With 270 electoral votes needed to win, Donald Trump is only 40 behind that with 230. Kamala Harris has 182 electoral votes. Let's bring you a key race alert. Where are we with all the states that we have not projected yet? Pennsylvania, Donald Trump in the lead, 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris, 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 213,000 vote lead over her with 84% of the estimated vote in from Pennsylvania. In battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up there, 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 107,294 vote lead over Harris, but there's still about 55% of the vote that has not been counted in Michigan. A lot of votes to count in Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump 51% of the vote, Kamala Harris 47.4%. Donald Trump with a more than 92,000 vote lead over Harris. That's with more than 3/4 of the votes counted in Wisconsin, 77% of the vote. In battleground Georgia, Donald Trump up 50.7% to Harris's 48.4%. Donald Trump with a 118,838 vote lead over Harris with 93% of the estimated vote in. In battleground Arizona, Donald Trump up 49.8% to Harris's 49.3%. Donald Trump with a 9,600 plus vote lead. That's with slightly more than half of the vote counted in Arizona, 52%. In Nevada, Donald Trump up 73% to Harris's 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with an almost 11,000 vote lead. But that is, again, with only 2% of the estimated vote in Nevada counted. Still a lot of votes to count in Nevada. John?
So, Jake, let's look at, right now you're looking at the big map, and you're seeing all that red. Yes, Virginia, we just projected for the vice president. That one's blue. I'll take a closer look in a minute at that one. But you're looking at the blue wall states. Essentially, Harris's only path is to come back in these 3 states right there. I can give you a conceivable possibility where she only has to come back in 2 of them, but she has to come back in all 3 of them to have a reasonable path to 270 electoral votes, and it's a problem at the moment, 168,000 votes. I'm told more votes just recently came in Philadelphia, and indeed they did. So now you're up to 76% estimate. This can change a little bit as more votes come in. But you see that, the vice president opening a healthy lead in Philadelphia, which is a building block of a Democratic win in Pennsylvania. The question is it enough? I just showed you Trump was leading. So 78%, 477,000 votes. If you go back 4 years ago, it's 81%, and it's 603,000 votes. Remember that, 81 and 603. 78 and 477. Can she move both numbers up when we get the final quarter of the vote? That's the challenge, because you need that math, forgive me, to overcome that. 168,000 votes in a state that was decided by 80,000 votes 4 years ago and 40,000 votes 4 years before that. That is a big lead in a tight state like Pennsylvania with 85% of the vote. So you're saying, is it just Philadelphia and the suburbs where there are outstanding votes? Again, if you're joining us late, the larger the circle, the more votes that are still outstanding to be counted, the color, the way the candidate who's winning in that area at the moment. And so you still do right here.
It just got projected a little while back. We don't have a projection in Minnesota just yet. So all these bluer states have moved a little bit red. And again, the upshot is right now Donald Trump has 4.3 million more votes than Kamala Harris. That will change. Popular, but that will change, especially with California's vote. But that is an astounding number when you realize he lost the popular vote both times he ran. In fact, both times he was around 46, 47%. Now, if this were to hold, it will not hold, to be clear, but he's got a shot at hitting 50%.
At hitting 50%. Reince, did you get a chance to reach out to the former president?
I talked to him a few minutes ago. He's pretty obviously excited, wanted to know how I felt about Wisconsin. I feel really good about it. And if you look at Wisconsin, what you'll see there is that the president up over 95,000 votes. And there's going to be a ballot dump in Milwaukee, which is when they get the flash drive from all the absentee ballot early vote numbers. So I thought that the president would win by 40 or 50,000 votes once that happens. But if you look at Green Bay, what you're going to see there is that's going to be a big win for President Trump there, only about 35% in. That's going to keep coming the direction of President Trump. So, like Rick said, I mean, Kamala Harris is bleeding in every direction. The other point I want to make is that something I've been trying to argue for the past couple of weeks is that Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2016 went all 3 for Trump. In 2020, all 3 for... They're the same person in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And there's a reason why these states run together. I'm not saying that's going to happen. There's a lot that go tonight, but it certainly is how it's trending, and it's just not very surprising.
I know. I think it's really interesting, Rice, and I think it comes all the way back to this central issue that we've been talking about all night long, which is the economy. And you can be told that the stock market hit 40 record highs this year, and interest rates are coming down, inflation's back down at where the Fed wants it. We're probably going to see another Fed interest rate hike in the next couple of days, even after the election. But it's how do you feel? When you go to the grocery store, do you feel like you had a little more back before the pandemic? And you have more exit polling nationally and in some of the swing states, right, Lynn?
Exactly.